Hi everyone. Welcome once again to another video. This is Fifi Squeaks, the mouse girl and the house girl, and we're here to play some games. Now today I want to do something a little bit different in Street Fighter 6 because there was actually a collab event that came to the game, I'd say some in October, so around Halloween. And because I had a lot of stuff going on, I missed it. It takes place in World Tour mode, so I figured we could take a look at it. Now, from what I understand, it is based on an old Japanese not point and click, but text-based horror game series. And I think that's actually kind of cool. Like, I'm super excited to try it, but because I believe that we're going to be actually doing fights in it and it's not just a text-based adventure, we're going to go ahead and have to adjust our stats. So let me do just that, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, I think we're all set. So, mostly it's a Mano setup with... What the hell pose is this? What the hell pose is this? Like, I know that's because I'm kind of halfway on and halfway off of horizontal surface, but that looks awful. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So, it starts by going to One Fateful Day. And going, wait, what's this? Wrestle Metro. Oh, that's for Alex. I didn't do that yet, but we're not going to do that. What I want to do is Street Fighter's Last Cry. A night of tragedy unfolds after a group of fighters find a mysterious note. Honor reads the words, "Tonight at midnight equals D." Let's see what it's all about. Welcome to the Kung Fu Kong Villa. During your time here, you'll be going by the name of Max. Okay, so I guess changing your character's appearance didn't really matter. Let's go ahead and start a new game. When I came to, I found myself in front of a fancy building. This is the Kung Fu Kong Villa Resort. A girl approaching as a blue silhouette spoke to me in a friendly voice. A resort? It all came back to me as I considered what she said. Kung Fu Kong Corporation, a renowned martial arts conglomerate, runs this facility for fighters from all over. You can tell that they just got like an actual apartment building and just kind of like color fixed it a little bit. Kung Fu Kong Corporation, a renowned martial arts conglomerate, runs this facility for fighters from all over. As a fighter myself, I had been invited here. We appear as blue silhouettes to hide our true identities and prevent needless confrontations between red-blooded fighters. So what, while they're here, they actually appear as blue silhouettes? Or is that mainly for us as the viewer? I'm a guest at this resort too. I go by Grace here. What's your name? She asked, my mind searched for the answer. I'm Max. Nice to meet you. Grace chuckled in response. Well, let's get going. The glass door in front of us gleamed brightly in the evening twilight as if beckoning us to use it. From this moment on, I would spend the night here using Max as my alias. Okay, so maybe I am playing my character. You know, we'll know when we see our silhouette, because if our silhouette is short and thick with big hair, then it's us. But what would be a female name that comes, woman's name that comes from Max? Maxine. So there we go. A wave of excitement for what awaited me washed up my body as I pushed open the door. It also depends on what pronouns are being used. The Banshee in Street Fighter's Last Cry. Welcome, Max and Grace, I presume. A man of medium build greeted us in the spacious entrance. My name is William Forrest, at least here it is. The apron he wore in his calm demeanor gave him the appearance of a resort manager, but he was also a guest. I've been visiting here for a long time, so they put me in charge of managing things while I'm present. He then took a moment to explain a few things to Grace and me, as it was our first time visiting. Let's go over some ground rules first. No snooping around another's business. Second, just because we're all fighters doesn't mean you can go around picking fights. Fighters took on new identities here in order to unwind and relax. As long as you follow those simple rules, feel free to do as you like. There's a game room and a billiard room, and the food here is quite good. William added, winking as if he had just sealed a great deal. And here are your room keys. A voice called from behind the reception desk nearby. A woman in an apron similar to William stood there, smiling gently. That's Colleen. Like me, she's a veteran around here and helps out with things behind the scenes. At the mention of her name, Colleen nodded politely. A whiteboard in front of reception listed all the room numbers and the guests currently staying at the resort. Max, your room is 206. Grace, 207. She explained as she handed us our keys. The guest rooms are upstairs on the second floor. They should be ready for you, but since dinner's about to be served, you can wait in the lounge if you'd like. Colleen suggested, pointing to the area next to the stairs. The lounge was cozy, furnished with a rustic fireplace. You know, I know this is a style of art. Well, photography is art, but a style of art where you take real photos and you kind of arrange things so that they could work as like just a visual representation of what's going on. I remember that being very popular in the Newgrounds days, especially with Newgrounds horror games. Although I suspect that a lot of those horror games just use clip art or things from like Googling up, I don't know, living room. Because I remember that none of those games had houses that looked like all the rooms actually fit together. It was just stuff they kind of just slapped together from different sources. But in either case, a large coffee table was surrounded by sofas enough to seat about 10 people. True to its name, it seemed like the perfect place to relax and chat. I think I'll wait here, Grace exclaimed as she threw herself onto the sofa. She stretched and let out a satisfied sigh. Having seen her embrace relaxation, I decided to follow suit. Crossing the entrance, I sat down on the sofa opposite Grace. Busy with dinner preparations, William and Colleen hurried into the kitchen at the back of the first floor. Without anything particular to talk about, I absently gazed at Grace. Even though her form was obscured by a blue so that's a real thing? Like, how was everyone's silhouette blue? Was it some sort of like maybe, I don't know, maybe they had a tech device that cast a hologram image over you? I'm so curious about that, and I will hope they explain. I can still make out the expression in her face. Her eyes, dark and deep, locked onto mine. Her smile radiating a warmth that felt both inviting and disarming. Even the way she sat, her head tilted ever so slightly and endearing, there was no doubt she was an attractive girl. I couldn't help but wonder what kind of fighter she was. Just started to imagine, I quickly shook my head. I'd been warned not to involve myself in others' business. Here I was obsessing over the first cute girl I see. How pathetic, I thought to myself. Okay, clearly this is not our character, because our fighter is not pathetic like this. Three girls chattered loudly while descending the stairs in a line. What the heck are we even supposed to do here? A pretty but somewhat rigid girl asked as she led the group. We eat as much as we want and then go back to our rooms to watch TV, replied the smiling girl trailing along with a round, jolly appearance. The bespectacled tomboyish girl in the middle shrugged her shoulders in exasperation. Might as well get some out of the TV after Debbie was so annoying about getting a room with one. I said I was sorry, Molly. Debbie responded apologetically, absentmindedly practicing her sumo as she... What? Just casually practice your sumo. Sure. I don't want to miss a sumo tournament, that's all. Honestly, why would you waste your time here watching TV? The pretty girl responded, furrowing her eyebrows. There's no reason to get so angry, Tiffany, Debbie exclaimed. Suddenly, Grace asked me softly, all three of them are pretty cute, huh? Which one would you choose? What? I faltered. Was she talking about a sparring partner or a If you don't know, then just ask. That's all you gotta do. Just ask. Nobody's gonna get mad at you, I promise. Unsure. I hesitated before responding. Okay, so our very first choice. The beautiful Tiffany, the tomboyish Molly, the charming Debbie, or for someone like you. Now, our character was kind of staring mad hard at this girl, the one in front of us, or at Grace, because we do have her name. Now, I do like tomboys, I'll admit. And I forget whether the sumo girl was Debbie or Tiffany, because right now I'm imagining, I think it's Hinako from King of Fighters. But you know what? We're going to roleplay this character as we think they are, so bam. I prefer someone like you. Yeah, you've got a type, huh? Grace joked. She squinted her eyes playfully, knowing she was getting a rise out of me. But you know that's not allowed, right? We can't go around picking fights, remember? Oh, you meant as a sparring partner? That's right, we're all fighters here after all. What did you think I meant? Oh, I mean... My response trailed off awkwardly. Suddenly the sound of a car engine broke the silence. It continued to grow louder, then came to a stop. That guy's got... Oh, who does his build remind me of? Because it kind of reminds me of, like... I don't want to say heavy weapons guy, but, like... Maybe Winston from Overwatch? I don't know. Yeehaw! Here at last! A middle-aged man with broad shoulders, a rugged look, speaking a distinct southern accent stormed in. And then there was his wife. A delicate woman with a fragile, almost melancholic aura accompanying him. The Buchanans, welcome! William raced out of the kitchen to greet them. How was your trip here? Well, the car held up okay, but the roads were rough once it got snowing. Glad we made it before everything froze. As he spoke, we could see that small flakes of snow now contained in the blowing wind outside. Cuckoo. Cuckoo clock on the wall by the entrance squawked 7 times. It was already 7 p.m. William, shall we start serving dinner? Asked a petite woman who approached from across the room. She was dressed in a work uniform, suggesting her position was to help around the resort. Ah, yes, Abby, please, if you will. Abby replied with a cheerful uh-huh, and led us to the dining hall. The dining hall was spacious, filled with tables covered in white cotton cloths, each one evenly spaced apart. The trio of girls from before and the Buchanans took their seats at their respective tables. It seemed everyone assumed Grace and I were a couple, as we were seated across from each other at the same table. I can't wait! Grace smiled across the table, her eyes shining. Yeah, me too. Seems like the food here is pretty famous. I added as she tilted her head slightly in response. It's not just the food, she said with a smile. I get the feeling something's about to happen, don't you? About to happen? What? Just there we go. It feels like we've all come here and become people just a little bit different than our usual selves. For some reason, it feels like we have a part to play. Is this going to be a murder mystery? Part to play? I looked over at William, who was prepping at the kitchen counter. You mean like we'll start helping out at the resort like William? Yeah, something like that. Grace replied while nodding. I think being with you is also part of it. Something might happen to us together. The thought that I have a greater purpose here made a fresh wave of excitement wash over me. I grinned. Oh no, we are not picking that second option. No, 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 no. Like, even if I think that'd be really funny, I'm sorry, but I don't even think our character Max here is this kind of pushy, and so we're gonna go with the first one. That must mean your part here is to guide me. Who knows? A mysterious smile curled on her lips. Before I realized dinner had come to an end. What? I was so focused on chatting I barely noticed the food. Well, what'd you have? Nothing better than a cup of tea after a meal. What was the meal? Look, I'm not expecting a Redwall paragraph, you know, because Brian Jakes does an amazing job describing food, but give me something. Like, even if it's that Final Fantasy 16, like, toast. Anyway, or egg on toast, I think it was. A man approached our table. With his sleeveless shirt showing off his beefy arms, he carried 2 cups near to spelling. This guy... The silhouette kind of can we hide the silhouette? No, we can't. But you know, this silhouette actually reminds me of a mix between Lee from Tekken 8 or Tekken, and he's Howard. Although, doesn't the arm look a little messed up? Like the arm that's in the foreground? Well, the only arm that we really see a lot of. Anyway. He set the tea down, half of it spilling onto the table, and then gave a thumbs up with his calloused hand. Everyone says I make a killer cup. He introduced himself as Bobby. Like Abby, he helped out around the resort. Nice to meet ya. He laughed out as he slapped my back in jest. Did I take damage? I figured it was a friendly gesture, but honestly it hurt. I took damage! God, I'm even taking damage in a text-based game, guys. It seems he didn't quite have a sense of his own strength. Despite most of its spelling, the tea was still refreshing. I set the cup down and suddenly caught a scent in the air. That smells good. What is that? It's poison. As I searched for the source of the aroma, my eyes landed on a man in the corner, casually tilting his cup. His hunched posture seemed oddly suspicious. Over there, that's John. Abby said quietly. She came to clear our table. I believe he's adding cinnamon to his tea. He always spices it up. The resort boasts an array of tea options, where adding milk and lemon was only the beginning. Shall we? Prompted by Grace, we left the dining hall. As we passed by the entrance, the girls from before were making a fuss. It was outside of our window, Molly exclaimed as she furrowed her brow in confusion. I'm sure it wasn't there before dinner, Debbie added in dismay. I made sure the doors and windows were locked, Tiffany chimed in, bristling. Please, calm down. There's no need to worry. You found this outside your window, you say? William is holding a piece of paper in his hand. Intrigued, I leaned in to take a closer look. Oh, please tell me it's like a threatening note, kind of like that one scene from The Letter. The following is written. Tonight at midnight equals D. Night at midnight equals D. Some letters are partially faded and nearly illegible, and for some reason I felt like I could read them. Really? Those are the two choices? Tonight at 12 a.m. someone will dance. Doesn't this say someone will die at midnight? You know, I kind of want to... Let's play this like a horror. Doesn't this say someone will die at midnight? What do you mean someone will die at midnight? That's so scary. Debbie panicked, her pudgy hands covering her mouth. This must be a joke, said Tiffany harshly. He looks at me with a hard stare. Cornered, I held up my hands defensively. Someone will die at midnight. I don't even know why I interpreted it that way. It was like a strange sense of deja vu, like this all happened before. Or maybe it's all predetermined, like an endless cycle, and it'll all happen again. Is this a time loop game? What's going on down here? The Buchanans came downstairs to join the conversation. Chase took the paper from William's hand and snorted. They stuck to the second floor window without no ladder or nothing. They must be out of their mind. Apparently the window in the next room was too far away to reach just by hand. The wind must have blown it from somewhere off and it got stuck up there. He had a point. That was indeed a possibility. And as we know, wasn't there a quote from about detective stories where it's like, if nothing was impossible, the improbable is probably possible? I absolutely butchered that quote, I think. Viewers, if you could tell me what the correct quote is, please let me know below. Chase turned towards the girls who were looking upset and flashed a grin that revealed the shine of his gold tooth. You gals better turn those frowns upside down, you hear? Whether true or not, Chase's swaggered speech lightened the mood, leaving everyone feeling a little less tense. God, they're just stomping up those steps like little elephants. Whether true or not, Chase's swaggered speech... Oh, right. The girls headed back to their room as they muttered, while William returned to cleaning up. For some reason, I found myself sitting down on the sofa in a lounge with the Buchanans. Thanks for calming everybody down back there. That's what I'm here for, friend, Chase said with a smug expression painted on his face. I might not look like it, but I'm the head honcho of a big old team back home, and when you're leading, you can't let even the littlest problem slide, you get me? He gave off a somewhat shady impression, but maybe there was more to him than meets the eye. Chase leaned forward as I couldn't help but be impressed. Someone like you, a youngin', I can whip you into shape and make you something real special. I gulped. Really? You're damn straight I can. Join the team, train up a bit. You'll be a hot shot, lickety-split. Wasn't sure what kind of team it was, but the idea of being a leader seemed pretty cool. Chase continued pressing me. How about it, Max? You want to join me? Considered for a moment before answering. Why not? Sign me up. Wait, did I get an... Oh, sign me up. Yeehaw! Chase puffed out his chest with a grin. It's a deal. We better get moving. From then, things started moving fast. Wait, did I get an ending? Chase took me to the town where the team was located, and from there I was under his command. I began as an errand boy, but slowly made my way up the ranks. Eventually became Chase's right-hand man. 30 years of sleepless nights and give... Did I actually get an ending? Having steered the team to success, thought it was a time to rewind and visit the resort again to reward myself. Yeehaw, at last. Wait, it's been 30 years? How old was Max to begin with? My car fought through the blizzard to reach its destination. You guests were already at the resort, it seemed. Little did I know, this was just the beginning. It was going to be a long, harrowing night. Yeehaw, I'm the leader. What? That was an ending? What? Hold on. How many chapters are there? Downtown route. Okay. All right, so let's do that again, but this time we'll actually, what happens if we continue? Oh, okay. Let's go back to the event menu. All right, so this time we're going to do the invitation. So we're just going to skip ahead to the choice. Okay, so they do tell you what choices you made previously. Sorry, I don't think so. I couldn't agree with something I knew nothing about. I apologized and declined. Ah ha ha. Amber began and laughed. I must apologize on behalf of my husband. He always gets like this whenever he sees someone he thinks he can use. Come on now. Chase's face tensed up like he just sucked on a lemon. Huh. Grace turned her gaze to the window and let out a noise. I think a little animal just ran by or something. I also glanced over. The snow and wind were picking up outside. Are we gonna fight a bear? A flicker of light reflected off the landscape outside. The headlights of a car. That's not an animal. Seems like a car. It's the Buchanan evil twins. The car drew closer and the entrance door opened. Hello everyone, it is I, the one, the only, Jonas Fabergé, here to dazzle with my presence this fine day. A man with a thick beard shouted loudly. In one hand he carried a long stick with a camera attached to the end of it. Oh boy, it's an influence. It must be one of those influencers. I called it. Case questioned under his breath. Meanwhile, Jonas kept on talking to his camera. The man known as Jonas twirled in his place as he spoke, catching himself from all different angles, and asking you to like and subscribe, and hit the bell at the bottom of the screen, or below the window, whatever. This is me as the mouse girl pointing below to say, click like and subscribe. He was clearly recording a video. Excuse me, sir, William proclaimed as he rushed over. Could you please refrain from recording in the lobby? You need special permission to do so. The tone in William's voice was more stern than usual. Ah, sorry, my man. Jonas shrugged and quickly put the camera away. Having finished his check-in, Jonas walked over into the lounge without a hint of shame. Watch out, coming through. His tan face looked tough, but the grin on his bearded lips seemed rather shallow. He plopped down next to Grace without even asking. Call me Jonas. My channel is called Fight It. I do vids and streams. Probably checked out my stuff before, right? Ha 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 ha. His Fight It channel, as the name suggests, hosted footage of battles between fighters. I've fought all kinds of opponents before. Beefhead, wrestlers, you name it. Jonas bragged, clearly proud of his accomplishments. It's against the rules here, right? For a moment I thought I saw Jonas's eyes narrow, but just as quickly returned to his usual lightheaded tone and continued talking. Of course, this is for fighters to chill, you know? Random fights, totally off limits, I get that. But... He leaned in and lowered his voice, sharing a secret. But we're all still fighters. I've heard some gnarly stuff happens on the down low. Interesting. Maybe this place wasn't all tea and biscuits after all. Jonas flashed a sly grin and continued. Plus, there are other rumors about this resort. Jonas stroked his beard, letting silence linger. Ever heard of the Banshee? It's a freaky creature with sharp blades of wind that can, like, slice people up. Rashid? A creature said to live in the woods. The Banshee. It was a local folktale around these parts. It lurks in the woods with its long, scythe-like nails. I'm down. Man, the wind's going tonight. Perfect Banshee weather, Jonas said as if he was talking and telling ghost story. I gulped. Have you come to film it? I asked. He shook his head. Nah, I'm just here to vibe like everyone else. But hey, if I catch something cool, I got my camera. Please, let's keep the filming to a minimum. William interrupted, his tone firm, as he appeared seemingly out of nowhere. Right. Jonas replied, scratching his head awkwardly. The conversation shifted to getting drinks. I stood up alone, quietly excusing myself. To be honest, I've been fighting the urge to take a leak. The bathroom was just down the stairs. The Banshee, huh? It sounded ridiculous, but in a place like this, with the storm raging outside, I'm not sure I'd be so surprised if something really did pop out. As I was taking care of business every day, A chill ran down my spine. That's when I heard something. What is that? A scream so haunting it seems to come from another world. That's not a scream, that's somebody stepping on a cat. Cat's tail. What was that? I panicked and burst out of the bathroom. I hope you wash. Did you wash your hands, you nasty fuck? Like, I'm sorry, but did you? I wasn't sure, but I had a feeling it came from the game room. As I nervously made down the way to hall, shadow suddenly appeared in front of me. Whoa, I gasped in shock. Oh shit, hey. It was Bobby. He was panting, clearly flustered. Bobby, I heard a scream. He responded quickly before I could say anything else. Yeah, I heard it too. From the billiard room, I think. Bobby's finger pointed at the far end of the game room. What was that just now? Did you hear it too? William appeared, rushing over. Bobby's voice rose as if to will William to move faster. Quick timing, William. Do you have the key? The key? The key to the billiard room. For some reason, the billiard room was locked, and William was the one responsible for holding the resort's keys. Bobby was apparently aware of this. In fact, he had just been going to find William to get the key. Are you sure you heard the scream from in there? William asked, stopping just in front of the door. Bobby nodded in response. I could see the lights flickering inside the frosted glass window. I'm opening the door now. William pulled a set of keys from his apron pocket. Released the lock with a small metallic click. For a brief pause, he turned the doorknob. What did we find? Is it a body? We stepped to the door, carefully with hesitation. Flickering light. This is somebody's basement, I swear. The flickering light made it difficult to get a clear sense of what was inside. The room looked normal with the large billiard table standing in the corner. We nervously huddled together, walked around it. And there, behind the table, we saw it. Oh shit, it actually is a body. Eek! I couldn't tell if the pitiful scream had come from me, Bobby, or William. It was likely that all three of us had yelped. What we saw was beyond words, an unspeakable sight. A dead body. The man's body lay twisted on the floor unnaturally. Like, are its arms just kind of, like, twisted up and then crossed? Is that what's going on up there? His face was turned behind his head, his white eyes staring blankly in the void. Every part of his body was contorted like a rag that was wrung out. It looked as if the blood-curdling scream he had heard had been wrung out of him by force. Holy shit! It's John, William muttered in a trembling voice. Bobby, his face drained of color, shook his head silently. Are we gonna have to fight a ghost? Shouldn't bring ourselves to look any longer and slowly stepped away from the body. After a long pause, William finally spoke. Let's leave him as he is for now. Not contaminating the scene seemed to be William's priority. We shouldn't touch anything or leave fingerprints behind. What about the back door? I pointed to it and asked. It was left wide open, battered by the wind, rattling violently. Evidence could be lost if we didn't do something. Yes, let's close it, William said as I shut the door. I grabbed a knob using the hem of my shirt and locked it with a twist. He left the room and locked the inner door behind us. Now no one could enter the billiards room. Should we call the police? Bobby murmured in a hoarse voice, and William responded, Yes, let's go upstairs and call them from reception. Well, John, we hardly knew you. We returned to first floor and William gathered all the guests in the lounge. He tells them something has happened, but to stay calm. He then walked over and grabbed the phone at the reception desk. What in tarnation? Tell us what's going on. The questions came pouring in as I gestured with my hands, signaling to calm everyone down. Taking a deep breath, I spoke. Someone has died. Died? What? Oh no. Everyone reacted in shock. Bobby, usually so confident, was trembling, and the tremor in his own voice made it clear that this was no laughing matter. I spoke slowly, recounting what we had seen. The person who died was likely John. The inner door of the billiards room had been locked. The back door leading outside had been left wide open. Are you saying it was murder? Jonas asked, sounding serious. Could you have been mistaken? Colleen inquired. She spoke as if she was trying to will that to be the case. I shook my head. I recalled the unnaturally twisted body. It was Abigail. Only Abigail could twist the body that hard. His neck twisted around to the back. His empty white eyes staring vacantly. The entire body was twisted like a rag, as if someone had gripped a doll and wrung it with all their strength. A hush settled over everyone. Each person struggled to comprehend the situation. It's no use. William's voice shattered the silence. Phone lines are down. The storm must have knocked them out. Of course. He muttered, shaking his head with a grim expression. Y'all can try using my cell phone. Chase stood up and offered his cell phone to William. Out of concern, Chase's face dropped. What? No signal. That's right, William said with a sigh. We've intentionally made sure cell phones don't get service up here to help everyone disconnect and relax. We could drive to a spot with a signal. No, but there's a snowstorm, so of course we can't. Yo, what if Scissor Man comes out? You know, just this little shit child with the big ass gardening shears chasing after everyone. Jonas suggested. No, the roads are likely frozen solid, Williams said bitterly. If we get into an accident, we'd be stranded. The storm was strengthening by the minute. The surroundings of the resort had disappeared into darkness, and the blinding snowstorm obscured any view. Venturing outside recklessly didn't seem like a wise choice. So that means it must be 8 o'clock, maybe? Oh no, it's 9 o'clock, so it's been 2 hours since the last time we heard the bell. 9 p.m. Someone will die at midnight, someone muttered quietly. Oh yeah, that's my fault. I froze. Nothing, and I pulled out the note I'd absently put in my pocket. Could it have something to do with John's death? It's not even midnight yet. Does that mean the killer jumped the gun? Molly said, a bespectacled girl on the verge of tears. This is this is awful. My cakes will burn. A murderer? Where did they go? Abby's voice pitched with panic as she spoke. Unease began to spread through the room. I can't take this anymore. Debbie shrieked, her voice shrill and desperate. What is even happening? I want to go home. Calm down, Debbie. Tiffany tried to soothe her, but even her typically composed demeanor couldn't make the mask the worry in her eyes. That's right. Let's all calm down. A quiet voice suddenly spoke, interrupting the chaos. It was Grace. She looked around at everyone and continued. Even if the note is a threat, the killer may have deliberately written the wrong time to distract us. There's no point in dwelling on it. She was as calm and steady as ever. The most important thing is to understand the killer's motive. If John was a target, then the murderer has probably already escaped. She had a point. Why would the killer stay near their crime scene? What we need is to consider the worst-case scenario. Grace paused and looked around at everyone again. What do you mean, worst-case scenario? That the killer is still here! Chase asked. Grace took a deep breath and replied. That someone else here is the next... Okay, that was the other option I came up with. A murmur spread through the group. I picked up where Grace left off. If they're targeting someone else, the killer might be hiding nearby. It could be... It could even be me. It could even be... Exactly. If I were the killer, that's what I'd do. Grace said, nodding. Someone else? Debbie screamed again. Nothing's for certain. We're just considering all possibilities here. William said calmly, taking charge of the conversation. For now, let's check all the doors and windows. Good thinking. Alrighty, fellas, follow me. Chase took charge, showing off his leadership expertise. This is what a leader's supposed to do. Said, flashing a smug grin at the girls. Considering the situation, I decided that I should help out. Let's start from the second floor. No, you start from the first floor so that people can't just walk in or out. Then you go up to the second and third floor and all that. William suggested as we gathered in front of the stairs. William, Chase, Bobby, Jonas, and me. 5 of us in total. Careful, Grace said quietly, waving her hand to send us off. We nodded and began climbing the stairs. I'm mostly surprised we haven't gotten into any fights yet. We started checking all of the guest rooms. We opened every door and inspected inside each one. The rooms appeared in order and the windows were locked. The showers were all clear too. Is that what showers look like in Japan? Like, any of you Japanese fans or viewers, is this what showers, or anybody who's visited Japan, are these what showers look like? Because this feels like something at like maybe a public bathhouse or sauna. Like, it just feels too large for a standard shower. But again, I've not been to Japan since I was a wee baby, so I don't know. There was a small ventilation window in the hallway. It's far too narrow for someone to fit through. Unless it was Scissor Man. Ain't nobody here, Chase muttered, a hint of relief in his voice. Yeah, seems like it, I answered. Silent understanding passed between us. What was that? Somebody falling down the stairs? You know, I can't remember who said it, but I remember back in the PS1 days, I had a friend, or maybe a family relative, but somebody was playing Resident Evil 1 and got really tired of the loading screens, you know, the going up the stairs or opening door loading screens. And one day he uttered, man, I wish there was a mod where I could like speed up the loading screens by having them fall down the stairs. Anyway, all of a sudden, a noise came from inside one of the rooms. What was that? Chase stuttered. Jesus, that arm is long. It came from the storage room. Bobby pointed to the other end of the hall. It's a single door. That's where we keep cleaning supplies and things. There's enough space for a person to hide, William explained in a low voice. The storage room door was slightly ajar. We held our breath and silently surrounded it. One of us had to open the door to check inside, but who would it be? We exchanged glances. Our eyes all turned to one person. Me. Yep. Chase whispered, his voice barely audible. The rest of us nodded in unison. It looked like the leader was going to have the lead. Dang, nabbit. Oh, okay. Chase gathered his resolve and grabbed the knob. What if Chase was suddenly just snatched up like that one game over in Laura Bow, the first Laura Bow game? Slowly opened it. Suddenly a tiny figure shot out. Scissor Man? Of course. Of course. You can't have a horror thing without a cat scare. Chase yelped as he stumbled and fell on his backside. The figure zipped past him and dashed down the hallway. A cat. William breathed, his voice laced with relief. Now we're going to get the cat ending. Oh, it's Ruby. What was she doing in there? It appeared to be one of the resort's resident cats. It was everything on the second floor, including the storage room, confirmed safe. They headed back down to the first floor. For a moment, I was startled by a scream I heard from the lounge area, but it turned out to be nothing to worry about. Ruby had rushed down to the first floor, earning a squeal of glee from Tiffany when she spotted her. Oh my gosh, a kitty! At this point, any distraction was a good one. We continued to check the first floor. Reception, the staff room, dining hall, the kitchen, and finally the bathrooms. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, and every window was securely locked. At last we made our way towards this game room. Carefully searched the gaps between the arcade machines. The only room left to search was the billiard room. They came to a stop in front of the door. The thought of facing a corpse again weighed heavily. William and Bobby's faces were just as tense. Yo, there's a body in there, right? Jonas's voice quivered, yet his eyes lit up with excitement. You're not going to record it, are you? Jeez. A camera had somehow appeared in his hand as we... Oh my god. You scumbag. Now wait just a moment. William shot a sharp glance at the camera. I hope you don't intend to use that. Of course not. Fucking liar. Quickly hid the camera behind his back. I'm just having a peek. No, we better not. William shook his head. We checked everything in there after we found the body earlier. No one was around, and we locked the back door. He was right. The billiard room should be completely secure. It was best not to interfere and preserve the scene. We explained our logic to Jonas and returned to the lounge. Oh, excuse me. There was no sign of anything unusual within the resort. Hearing this, a sense of relief washed over everyone. As long as the front door was locked, no one would be able to get inside unless they broke through a window. All we had to do was stay vigilant through the night, keep an eye on the weather until dawn. Then head out tomorrow. We could then contact the police, and everything would be fine. These thoughts cascaded through my mind like a waterfall, until one single thought became trapped in the current. Could the perpetrator really have escaped outside? Or was it one of us? Honestly, John's killer could be any one of us. This possibility shouldn't be ruled out. I took a deep breath and spoke up. The killer, it could be any of us. It was the cat. The cat was the killer. Sudden shift in the air left everyone uneasy. It was something they had all vaguely sensed, but hadn't dared to consider. I took the first leap into the unknown. There's someone here who doesn't have an alibi. A wave of excitement surged through me. Grace had said we each had a role to play here, and this might very well be mine. I was the detective, the one that could solve it all. With all eyes fixed on me, I continued. And that person is... Hold on. So... Jonas was the last one to arrive. Let's try to think about this logically. It couldn't be us because we were there the whole time. We were hanging out with Grace the entire time, so it couldn't have been her. I don't remember who Bobby is. Actually, hold on. We did see Bobby downstairs, right? Because I think we met up with Bobby when we found the body with William. So it could have been Bobby. And Jonas arrived last to the resort. So it has to be one of these two. But we don't have enough evidence to suspect. So I'm almost want to say that it's too early to say for sure. But if any of these people are the killers, then my money is on Bobby or Jonas. In fact, well, hold on, because Jonas actually came out during the Jonas came in before the killing, and we heard a scream right before the killing happened. So actually, I'm starting to lean that it could have been Bobby. But I feel like I think I'm gonna go ahead and say let's accuse Bobby, because I really do think that Bobby is the logical choice here. Bobby is the one that stood out to me. Bobby emerged from the game room just after the scream. Yep, see? Exactly. He claimed he was going to fetch the key, If we can believe that, he also helped around the resort. He likely had ample chances to make a spare key if he desired to. If we assume he had a spare key, Bobby could have locked the door after the crime, then pretended to go to get the real key, which is when I crossed paths with him. Something like that. Afterward, he could have discarded the spare key somewhere, or he could still be carrying it. Are you accusing me without any evidence? Bobby glared at me, his voice dripping with menace. If I search you and find a spare key, I'll make those eat those words if you want to come get some. Oh! Oh, we're actually gonna fight! Holy shit. Oh! I don't have my combos. Easy. Bobby was a tough opponent, but somehow managed to take him down. Strength was no match for my opponents. Huh, that's strange, no spare key. William mumbled quietly as we searched Bobby. Must have disposed of it somewhere. William gave me a puzzled look. Are you sure he's the culprit? Well, possibility he was the culprit wasn't exactly zero, but then again, there was no evidence to prove it. Well, maybe. That's great. You know, maybe I should have said that we didn't know. An unbearable silence filled the room. Did I do something wrong? I had. I just beat up someone who's innocent. Group's gaze pierced through me like sharp daggers. The case remained unsolved. Outside the resort, there was no sign of the storm ending. Felt like the night would stretch on forever. A long, hard night. Oh, crap. Return to the event menu. All right, so let's skip ahead a little bit. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, and we're back. Honestly, I'm so tempted on what happens if we say me, but let's actually play this seriously. It's too early to say for sure. That's right. There aren't enough clues to figure this out. I shook my head. An indescribable, awkward atmosphere filled the lounge. Very well. William, who had been unusually silent, raised his voice as if he had made up his mind. Let's check around the outside of the resort. A whisper spread through the group. William continued in a calm tone. Quickly checking the surroundings should give us some reassurance that there's nothing to worry about yet. Count me in. Bobby stepped forward. It was the same group as before. I knew I should go to. Jonas also stood up, presumably thinking the same thing. Case didn't move. I reckon I'll stay here and look after the ladies. I was likely feeling the sting of embarrassment of having screamed at nothing but a little cat. We set off as a group of 4. At Jonas' suggestion, we decided to split into 2 groups and circle the mansion from the opposite sides. This way we could surround anyone that we came across. We'll meet around back. Agreeing with William, I started walking alongside Bobby. We circled the outer wall, going left as the wind grew, and wind and snow blustered around us. William and Jonas moved in the opposite direction. Despite the darkness, lights were scattered across the area, faintly illuminating our surroundings. At half point, I turned my gaze to the forest. Who could possibly stay out here in conditions like this? It seemed unthinkable. Just as that thought crossed my mind, that fucking scream. A scream cut through the air. Bobby and I looked at each other in worry. We ran towards the back of the mansion. I hurried and glancing around, but the pelting snow stung my face, making it hard to see. As I turned the corner, a figure suddenly appeared. Ah! Even enough time to react, the figure lunged forward. Oh! Who's this little skinny? we're gonna play this straight, not heal. Whatever damage we take, we take. In the heat of the moment, I somehow took my opponent down. I knelt down, unable to believe my eyes. William? Wait, why did William attack us? The figure that had lunged at me was him. Groaning, William spoke in broken sentences, explained that he'd been suddenly hit from behind during his patrol. And right after that, I ran into you. They mistaken me for the ones who had attacked them. It was simply the result of poor visibility. Was the one who hit you the murderer? Was it Jonas? Bobby asked, nearly frozen with surprise. Where is he now? The storm grew fiercer, cloaking everything in an icy wall. You know, I did say that Jonas was another person I initially suspected. Jonas, are you out there? Bobby's scream echoed in the void, his voice a desperate plea, but the wilderness swallowed it whole. William fainted and only silence remained. Jonas's absence was unsettling. Considering the situation, looking for him would be futile. We should get him to safety, I said, and Bobby nodded in agreement. Together we lifted his limp body and made our way back to the entrance. Jonas went after William, and then Max just knocked him out clean. What in tarnation's going on? I laid William down in the staff room and went back to the lounge, only to find Chase waiting there, eager to approach. We're not entirely sure. Jonas may have been the one who hit William, and then because of that we ended up fighting by accident when we ran into each other. I stumbled, struggling to explain. So he making a lick of sense. Chase's expression remained unclear, his confusion evident. The others in the lounge were looking uneasy too. I didn't blame them. A lot had happened. As Bobby and I kept explaining, everyone began to piece together what had actually happened. So you're saying Jonas did it? I shook my head to indicate my lack of confidence. If Jonas did attack William, there must be some kind of reason why. It wasn't clear if this is all connected to John's murder. Either way, Jonas had seemingly vanished in thin air. There was nothing more I could add. But did you figure out anything else? Grace inquired. She was expecting me to evolve in my role as a detective. I tried to think hard, waiting to meet her expectations. Now that you mention it... Wait, did we? We found the Banshee? What? The freaky thing Jonas was talking about? Chase asked as I nodded in response, turned to face everyone. Strange creature that slashes with blades of wind. I now knew the creature's true identity. The Banshee is... What? Oh. Oh. Because William used Sonic Boom. Is that what it was? Let's go with it. During our fight, William used techniques involving blades of wind. Called our battle. This made so much sense. William must have fought someone here before. From these stories, rumors of the Banshee had spread. Come to think of it, when Jonas mentioned the Banshee, William quickly steered the conversation another way. He was worried about his true identity being uncovered. William is Guile. Wait. Was there a Street Fighter character named Max? No. Could be, I reckon, Chase nodded. The others in the lounge seemed slightly impressed by my revelation. All of a sudden, another scream echoed through the air. Huh? What the? No way! Everyone erupted in a flurry of confusion. Tension was etched on every face. The scream had come from downstairs. A singing feeling told me it was coming from the billiard room once again. Oh, let's go check it out. I said to no one in particular, then took off briskly. Bobby and Chase followed close behind. We stopped in front of the billiard room. Up until now, there had been no sign of anything unusual. Not here again. Felt a sense of deja vu from the flickering lights through the frosted glass as I reached for the door handle. And then I noticed. Where's the key? Of course, William has it. Bobby responded. Should I go get it? I ain't got no time for that. Chase's voice was sharp. He was right. We couldn't spare a second. It's just a dang wooden door. Break it down, Chase explained. Bobby kicked the area near the handle with all his strength. The hinges of the door whined as the lock snapped. The door swung open. We charged into the billiard room. At first glance, everything seemed unchanged. There were no signs anyone was hiding inside. But to me, there was something. There was a smell. Overwhelming scent of something burnt. What is that smell? With a growing sense of unease, I circled around the billiard table in the center of the room. I didn't want to see the twisted, grotesque corpse again, but I couldn't just leave it be. Sure enough, there it was. Yo, is the corpse on fire? What? The stench of burnt flesh? What the fuck is this? The body was completely charred beyond recognition. What the? Bobby recoiled at the sight of the body covering his nose. The corpse twisted in agony as if it collapsed in pain. The nightmare sight nearly made me gag, the bile rising my throat as I struggled to hold it back. What the hell's going on? Chase asked. He turned away to avoid looking directly at the body. I knew how he felt. I too wanted nothing more than to look away. Well, the culprit ain't here. Let's head on back. Is the back door still unlocked? That's what you should be checking. Make sure nobody else is in there. Unless this is like one of those, you know, spontaneously combusting corpses. Yeah, let's get out of here. This is beyond us. Bobby whispered as he turned sharply, made for the door. As for me... You know what? In for a penny, in for a pound. Let's check out the body. Forced out of my disgust and stepped close to the body. I crouched down to examine the body further. It had clearly been exposed to intense heat. The entire body charred beyond recognition. It was no longer contorted. How? Something was lying beneath the body's arm. I gently pushed it aside to get a better look, but the burned skin crumpled off with a nauseating crack. The repulsiveness of the feeling nearly made me cry out. I bit my tongue and picked the object up. Is this a key ring? It looked familiar. That's right, it resembled the one William always carried. Why is it here? Yo, are people dying? A second scream. A burned body. A key ring. So much I didn't understand, but the sight of the body and my peripheral vision kept my thoughts scattered. I turned away and decided to head back to the others. The lounge was silent. Too many terrible things had happened that night. Everyone was at a loss for what to do. Shall I get the tea brewing? Colleen stood up, her expression kind. Good idea, I'll help. Abby chimed in. How many want a cup? Abby looked around the room, counting on her fingers. Colleen, Abby, the three girls, the Buchanans, Bobby, Grace, myself, 10 people total. If you exclude William, who was resting in the staff room, everyone is here. I don't like hot things, so no tea for me. What? What? The cat can talk? Faint chuckle passed through the group. Oh, then Tim. Wait, and everybody's just cool with it? Alright, what a night it had been. Screams, twisted corpse, banshee, talking cats. It's all fucked up. If I was a better detective, maybe I could piece together the puzzle and find the answer. I had no idea. Eventually, Colleen and Abby returned and gave out the tea. Fragrant aroma from the cup seemed to ease our nerves. This is beyond us now. I recalled the words that Bobby said earlier. I agreed. What was happening was beyond our control. Everyone returned to their rooms, locked their doors, and waited for morning. It was the safest thing to do. I'm not sure who came up with the idea, but we all agreed it was the best course of action. I returned to my room, pulled the sheet over my head, and lay down in bed. I was completely drained. As midnight drew in the air, I thought I heard a knock, but I stayed in bed, not moving an inch. I was done with mysteries, no more. I gave up and drifted off to sleep. If only it were a dream. What? Huh. Yeah, so there are still mysteries to solve. Still things that we haven't answered. But I'm honestly wondering where we went wrong. Like, did we need to mention that Jonas? Did we need to blame Jonas during the where is it? What chapter was it? A late arrival, the Banshee, like a doll. A pigeon's cry, the culprit is among us. That's the one. Like, was there anything? I'm not sure what choices we had to make that would make things different. But you know what? We have actually been playing this for a little about an hour. Oh, you know what? Let's try one more time. Let's try to figure out what's happened. This time, let's see what happens if we ignore the body and just go back upstairs. Seriously, let me find out this is basically 999. Excellent game, by the way. Play it. Okay, and then we see the burning body. Here we go. As for me, I hurried and followed right behind them. The lounge was silent. Too many terrible things had happened that night. Everyone's at a loss for what to do. Wait, is this just the T ending again? I'm just gonna skip ahead if this is the same, but yeah, it looks like it's just the T ending. Yeah. Okay, so something I did earlier in the game actually ruined it. Like, was it? I don't think it was when we were talking with Grace about which of the girls we wanted to fight with. I don't think how that would matter. There might have been the accusation scene. Yeah, because let me see. Jumping at shadows. Oop. So, Rising Doubts, that's the chapter where we, wait. Was the culprit among us the chapter where you could point a finger at somebody, or was it Rising Doubts? What if we lost the fight against the against William? Let's try that. Let's see what happens if we lose the fight against William. Oh, okay, so no, that's not it. So, chapters. Let's see. Yeah, so it must have been the suicide mission chapter. So let's try that. So we're just going to speed ahead a little bit. And this time we're going to see what happens if we lose the fight. Oh, wait a minute. We get key items if we actually perform a combo that deals 6,500 damage or more. And with a 10-hit combo for a cold tomato soup in a cookbook. Oh, that's failed. Well, let's lose the fight and see what happens. Oh, this is going to take a while, so see y'all in a little bit, everyone. Wait, I have an idea. There we go. Deplete vitality. Oh. Okay, so I guess we don't get anything for that. So maybe what we can do... Yeah, I guess we'll just use that. Oh, I messed up. Oh, wait a minute. Is that not working? Oh, I know why. Because it's in a World Tour mode, so I don't have access to the same moves that I do. So I have to depress the heavy punch version in order to do that. So... There we go. All right, we got it. No, is that a key item? That's what I'm curious about. Oh. Oh. Oh, so we can actually get clothing items from this mode. Okay. Now, I don't think there are any choices that we could make here, right? Wait a minute. Maybe if we say the wrong thing about the Banshee. Yeah, the Banshee is ectoplasm? I mean, I guess we'll say Jonas. That's right, Jonas was the Banshee. He revealed his true form, attacked William, and disappeared in the night, carried away by the wind. The only explanation. Bobby tilted his head in confusion, but William didn't have any slash wounds. That's right, I quickly added something to cover myself, so I decided to punch him instead. Tried to come up with an excuse. An awkward silence filled the room. Okay. So that didn't turn up anything. I wonder if, let's go back to the blames, to the part when we were blaming people. So that was The Culprit is Among Us, I think? Or Rising Doubts, I think. Let's try that. Became trapped in the current. The perpetrator really have escaped. I took a deep breath and spoke up. The killer must be among us. That person is... Well, let's try blaming Bobby first. Okay. So he doesn't have any special items. Okay, so and let's fit. Nope. I am having way too much trouble with this. There we go. That'll take it. All right, so that didn't work. Maybe one of the other characters. Like, there has to be something that we're missing, but I'm not sure what it is. But you know what? I think that's going to be enough for this. I might actually go through this again and try to figure out what the actual mystery was. Or I'm so glad that this is actually a permanent part of the game, though, because it's like a little fun little diversion. Anyway, that's all for now. This is Fifi Squeaks, the mouse girl and the house girl. And as always, like and subscribe. Come check out my stuff over at Ko-fi or Patreon, Subscribestar, or whatnot. And, you know, all my socials are down below in the description. But take care, love you all, and see you soon. Bye-bye. Mwah.